What's up, everybody? How are we doing?
Hi, JJ. How are you?
Good, thanks. Happy
Do-
Wednesday.
Doing well, thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna give it just a couple more minutes as people are hopping on here. I'll usually start about 5 past the hour. I want everyone to do some real quick. I want you to write down the three things that you were procrastinating before this happened in business. What are three things that you were talking about going, oh, I do that, but I'm just so busy. I do that, but I have to go to an appraisal appointment. I do that, but I have a home inspection. I do that, except I have too many listing appointments, or I do that, except I have too many buyer appointments. All of those. What are the top three things that you weren't doing in business? And I don't mean like well, I should have painted the third bedroom. And so I'm going to do that now. I mean, in business, like, the excuses we were telling ourselves that we were too busy, because there's opportunity, I know, in this to be able to accomplish those, to make sure that we're all keeping, rowing in the same direction. And then we can talk about those, a few of those at the end of this, seminar. So, let's see what time we got here. Yeah, I'll give it 2 more minutes. And then I can't, let's see, chat. Cool. So if you guys have, there's a little chat section. So if you have any questions, you can pop them in there over to me, and I'll try and stop and take a look at them and address them. If not, then we can definitely address them at the end. This is going to be a start of a series of webinars that we're going to be focusing on profit, focusing on growing the business, focusing on what we can control, not focusing on what we cannot control. So this is great for the control freaks like me. And then if you can, just do me a favor when you hop on, just press the mute button. It's the little microphone at the bottom of your screen. And just click on that, and that will help any background noise while we're going through this. All right, perfect. All right, let's get the show on the road, because we've got places to be, we've got people to see. No, we don't, but we've got people to call, and we've got things to do. So if you didn't, then we hope to have that after this. So we're going to talk about virtually engaging your database to crush the market. Now, here's the awesome part, is literally I could take out the first line of that, how to virtually engage your database to crush the summer market. And it's not going to be a whole lot different than if we were, not in these crazy times, and not, able to go see each other and not have all this social distancing. But nevertheless, some of it is going to be slightly different. But if there was ever a time now, I can assure you that one of the things that I hear over and over again, of things that I was putting off when we weren't stuck in lockdown, one of that was creating my database, dialing in my database, updating my database, and working my database. So I'm going to share some things that we're doing, and then also going over some of the basics as well. So let's get this going. So right now, it's really important for the clients that you are being the beacon for your database, that you're being compassionate, you're being calm, and you're the creator of content, the deliverer of content, meaning what's going on, how does this affect real estate, how does this affect the prices. Your job is to calm people's fears and still be that fun person. Being funny, being social. These are all things that people are lacking right now. That if you can do that and be there throughout this for them, then they're going to remember that. Otherwise, if you weren't there for them during these tough times, then they're going to look to whoever was most available, or maybe whoever knocked on the door after this, or maybe someone who sent mailers in the mail. I mean, you can imagine all of our clients on the lending side, they get pelted from every which direction. So over and over again, they're getting phone calls, they're getting mailers, they're getting their servicers. I mean, they're getting called from all over the place. So what is the difference of why they come back to us versus why they go somewhere else. And it really comes down to the relationship and the type of relationship that we want to have with our clients and taking care of them past it. When we originally started this back in 2011, I didn't work my database from 96 until 2011. Talk about missed opportunities. And as we headed into 2019, that's near doubled. And as we're headed into 2020, we've already achieved more closings than we did in all of 2018. So you can see as you build your database and over time, what's changed? Well, what's changed is that we put in a lot of time organizing it, working it, and growing it. Where before we didn't do anything at all. We just sat on a bunch of names. We thanked them, we handed them their keys, we took a picture of that sold sign, and that was that. So I want to give you guys some tools that you can take away that you can absolutely do going forward to make sure that you use this time wisely so that you never look back and wonder about that database or wonder about how you're going to take care of them so that you can keep that business. So the database is going to be different than your farm. It consists of people that that they know you, they like you, they trust you. They're in relationship with you're in relationship with them. As far as who goes in your database, your current and past favorite clients, 50 business people that know you, and 50 business people that you want to know. This is a great time to formulate that list. We have nothing but time on our hands, but if you can really dive deep to find 50 business people that know you and 50 that you would like to know, and of course, narrowing down your friends, your family, and neighbors that can refer you business. The thing about real estate that's amazing is anyone and everyone can refer you. Like I was talking to some of my loan officers currently, and obviously with the rates being low and refinance opportunities, they could literally ask anyone, and there's going to be someone that knows someone that probably can refinance. And the same goes with purchasing real estate. We had found that we're still doing home buyer seminars right now, and a lot of the fear people have about buying doesn't necessarily all have to do with the coronavirus. People have so much other fear that you add this on top of it, and the fact that people think they can time a market and that they're making great decisions out of fear. So what we want to do is peel back as much of that fear as possible. And we find in doing so that I can pull back the fear of 75% of the issues that buying or the fears of buying. And then all there's left is this short-term pandemic that we're dealing with that will pass in time. But making sure that I'm that person for them is going to be the most important. So once we know we have the lists are the most important thing. So if you do nothing next week, just create your lists and have your lists either in CRM. I use Salesforce. There's all kinds of great CRMs. You have Big Purple Dot's another great one that has automated texting. I really, really like that one. We use that for some items as well. But one that you're going to use that's going to be easy for you to use is the most important thing. And this way we can promote, once we have those lists, we promote the theme days themselves. And the theme days are the most important thing. Right now, it's hard because I think that we're all wondering what the heck to do each day. And I think having swim lanes each day of telling us what to do really helps. I know it helps me. Every single day of my day is carved out and planned out, and most of that has to do with prospecting. And right now it's about planting seeds and picking fruit. There's less fruit on the trees right now. Why? Well, people are nervous. We're locked inside the house. It does make it more difficult, but there's still fruit on the trees. We're opening escrows every single week, just the same. And what I'm finding is a lot of aggressive agents that are out there. There are agents that are doing a lot of handwritten thank you notes, just doing a lot of out of the box type of things. So I'm going to talk about some of that as we go on, but I will tell you the theme days is the most important. So we want to make sure that we have on Mondays, this is what a Monday would look like. And obviously you can change it however you'd like, but this is what we do in the core. Monday, you're going to print your top 50 VIPs. This is your favorite people call list. These can be family members. These can be friends. These can be hairdressers, tattoo artists. I don't care. These are all people that you know and love and that would and will refer you in a heartbeat. The difference is even a family member is said to forget what you do after 14 days. I've literally had my mom and my father both in the past 25 years apply for a loan elsewhere, and I had to remind them what I did. That is just the reality. I think a lot of times we just take for granted and think, hey, they know what I do. It's not their job or other people's job to know what we do. It's our job to make sure that we remind them what we do and how we can help benefit them. We want to make sure that you're turning off your computer and your cell phone and your social media. The thing about working from home, and I worked from home remotely for years, is you need to be in a distraction-free zone. For some people, that's very hard. There's distractions all over the place. So for myself, I lock myself in a room. My kids are in their room doing schoolwork. Kimberly's in a different room. And literally, it's treated just like an office. I'll go in for lunch. I'll come back in. And at the end of the day, my day ends. But when you're making your calls and you want to be engaged with people, it's hard to be engaged when you're multitasking. It just is. And we're all guilty of it. You're on a phone call and you're typing, you hear in the background all of the typing on a keyboard. People understand that you're not truly giving them your full attention. So we want to make sure that that's off, and so that we can listen. Most importantly, that we want to listen to them. So ask about their weekend. You want to speak to 12 of your top referring partners. Referring partners are going to be divorce attorneys, CPAs, financial planners. These are all people that are booming and busy right now, and they all know people that are going to need to list their houses, that are going to get divorced, or that are having more babies. So there's opportunity in this market, and I've spoke about it a couple times. There are going to be a lot more divorces, unfortunately. It's not something I'm proud of. It's just a reality of the situation of being stuck in isolation together. The other is you're going to byproduct is lots of babies. That's another positive, being stuck in a house together. And a lot of millennials that thought they loved urban living, but in the end, their urban living doesn't feel so good, and the walls start getting a little bit smaller. And so they want to start looking at walls a little bit bigger and or yards. So I think there could be a lot of great opportunity, but making sure you're in front of them, talking to them and mining them, so that you plant the seeds and you water obviously the soil over a period of time, and that's when we can harvest. This is obviously going to be a blip. It's a 90-day delay for us. So a 90-day delay, meaning we're not going to feel this lull that we're in right now for 90 days. So anything and everything that you can do that you weren't doing before, that you knew you should be doing, you should be taking advantage of. So what do? Ask about their weekends. Did they attend any events? Invite them to an event. So let's talk about that. We're not going out to any events, but we're doing a lot of events inside. I hired a stand-up comedian from Last Comic Standing. I'm having private concerts. We're doing game shows. We're doing just regular happy hours. We're doing educational events like this. We're doing virtual poker. Like, you can all see each other when we're playing cards. There are so many things that are available out there that you can do and hold these different events weekly. We're also doing food delivery. So my employees, we have Taco Tuesdays where they're getting tacos delivered. Then we have ice cream. So it doesn't need to be for everybody, but each week, if you're speaking to 12 and your favorite people, these are things that you can do to stay in front of them. Did they come across talking about anyone buying or selling a house? There's a lot of conversations about buying and selling right now. And you don't know where people fall on that side of the fence, but it's our job to be able to dig and find out if we can be of service to answer any of the myths or questions. And always asking for the business. All right, so that's the most important thing. We're either inviting them to something or asking for the business. So those are on Mondays. Tuesday updates are what we do every single Tuesday. If you're in escrow, you're calling the agents on both sides, you're calling your clients every single week, you're calling the escrow companies. I love escrow companies because there's always some sort of turmoil going on that offer opportunity for us to jump in and save the day. When an escrow is falling apart and they're firing their realtor or they're firing their loan officer or something's going awry, there is opportunity, but we need to be there to ask for and ask about that opportunity itself. updating your client list, updating your buyers and sellers that are in contract, making sure that you're communicating for a high level. And this is where we ask them for a current client referral. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are we doing on updating you and making sure you're taken care of? And if they're giving you a 9 and 10, then it's a perfect time to ask them, hey, do you know anyone else looking or thinking or talking about buying or selling real estate right now? But it's an important question we need to be asking all the time to these people when we're having conversations with them. Benefits clients and decreases inbound phone calls. So when you're updating them weekly, it's going to avoid the distracting inbound phone calls. And then it allows you to set the expectation so they know what's coming the rest of the week. Communication is the #1 complaint from everyone, from agents, from loan officers, from borrowers, from escrow, you name it. It's always the #1 complaint. But when you do it at a high level and you do it systematically on Tuesdays, then they will tell their friends. So we get on average about 10 to 20 CCRs and PCRs per month. We call them current client referrals or past client referrals. This is when we're servicing our clients on Tuesdays, communicating with them, and then asking for that referral. Many times they're like, absolutely, I can get you one. I don't have one right now. Great. Well, when you're talking to your different family members or you're online at church or you're talking to your work folks, would you just keep that in mind in the coming week, and then next week I'm going to ask you again. So you can see I'm always constantly farming. Now, if they say we're going to give you a 5 on a 1 out of 10, that's a great opportunity for me to fix something. Obviously, something's broken, something's not right. We're not shooting for a 5 out of 10 ever. So what can we do? How can we fix it and immediately jump on it? So it gives some customer service as well. Wednesdays are hot leads and old leads. We're looking to close for an appointment, and then we're also going to send them evidence of success and email a monthly video about the market to them. So having this system, again, it's always on Wednesdays. Hot leads are going to be anyone that's interested in buying in the next 90 days or showed interest in buying in the next 90 days. Old leads are going to be anyone that had showed interest and they're about 9 months old. I love 9 months because if they signed a year lease, which most people do, 9 months is 3 months prior to their lease coming up and maybe revisiting at what it is that they can do. So there's a huge uptick we find when we re-engage people that are around that 9 month mark. So 7, 8, 9 months, even 10 months. But when you start getting too close, and we've all seen this, they end up getting a little bit squirrely and going, I need a place to live, and then they sign another lease. So trying to stay in front of it is going to be absolutely important. So hot lead Wednesdays, old lead Wednesdays, and making sure. The goal each week right now, being on lockdown, is 100 conversations per week that you should be having. 100 conversations per week. If you're having 100 conversations per week and you're planting seeds asking for the business, and you do this week after week after week for months at a time, it's impossible for you to fail. The difference is people won't make the conversations, they won't do it consistently, or they won't ask for the business. You've got to do all three. And I promise you, if you're doing all three on a consistent basis, and I've seen it from coaching on the realtor side or coaching on the lender side, but it is absolute must, and it works when it's super deadly when all three are being combined. So if we're looking at Thursdays are my top 50 past clients and 400 past client database. So who are my top 50 past clients? They are ones that were raving fans, either raving fans on like giving you a glowing testimonial, and maybe they only used you once, or they've used you multiple times, or they've referred you multiple times. So maybe someone sent me 3 or 4 other clients, maybe they've used me 3 and 4 times themselves, or maybe they've only used me once, but they are raving fans and would have your name and picture on a billboard. You're going to call 12 of them per week. You're going to have a birthday program for them. Maybe it's sending out Cheryl's cookies. Maybe you're doing the berries. There's all kinds of different really cool gifting programs. And then you're going to invite them to a monthly happy hour and annual client appreciation event. We do 2 annual client appreciation events. Right now, you're going to have to do a virtual one. Getting them on there and doing a happy hour, I think, is great. But when this is over, we do movies, is what we typically do. And then we have the petting zoo that we do for the kids where they pick out a pumpkin. It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you're doing something to show appreciation to them. And when we're there doing appreciation, we do raffles. So we give away a bunch of raffle prizes, and how they get tickets is by one ticket for just being there and being themselves. They get 3 tickets for giving us a referral, or they get 3 tickets for giving us or showing us a review on any of the posts online. So it allows us to get more reviews. It allows us to get more referrals. The clients feel appreciated, they win prizes, and we're in relationship with them twice a year. The other is the 400 past client database. If you don't have 400, no problem. You just want them all in there. These are, you're going to call a letter of the week. Typically, if you have 400 past clients in there and you're calling a letter of the week, you're going to get 2 touches per year on them as far as actual conversations, working them through. They're also going to be on a birthday program. You're going to also invite them to the annual appreciation event, and you're going to send them out a letter of the heart as well, which is what that LOTH means. And I'll go over that more here just in a little bit. Now, Fridays are cold calling days. So why do we like cold calling on Fridays? Because everyone is a little bit happier on Friday than they are on Mondays. So, you know, they're heading out, they're ready for the weekend, they're a little more relaxed and open to speaking with you. And it opens up just a little more personal side, and that's what you're going for. You want to call 10 business people and 2 builders every Friday. Let's just say for right now, the 10 business people, because I think there's so much opportunity for realtors right now with divorce attorneys, CPAs, and financial advisors. My financial advisor says when the stock market crashes and things are all kind of topsy-turvy, that's when their client base blows up. I have referred him over so many people in the past 2 months because their financial advisors, listen, you're in the financial markets and things like this happen, you're pretty much, you're used to losing. I mean, that's just part of what happens. You have to have your ups and you have to have your downs. But if they're not being communicated to, they're not talking to them about their specific situation, they're not being proactive in doing so, then people get nervous and they want to talk to someone who's going to provide them the information. So we should all take a little lesson out of that book on seeing how financial advisors grow even though the market's tanking, and why is for lack of communication. We should take notes on that as well. But it's a great time, and we can provide them with lots of referrals. I can provide CPAs, divorce attorneys, and financial advisors a consistent amount of referrals, and they can do the same thing. But understand, not everyone wants a referral. So if you think you don't have anything to offer, don't. Know what it is that you have to offer any potential listing or any potential buyer out there, and then you can offer that same service and be an extension of service for those business people. We're going to meet with them twice a month on average. Zoom meetings are fine right now. I'm doing one-on-one Zoom meetings like crazy. Even our core event, we're doing a huge virtual event for our core members also. And you're going to add them to the evidence of success mail and video email list and invite them to happy hours. Happy hours are where you can really get to know people. You get to know, like, and trust people. Happy hours are really so that we like people and we learn to trust them. And the learning aspect of it, or the evidence of success, is to show them that we know what we're doing through testimony. On average, a referral from a business contact can earn you a 48% higher commission. These are people that have been referred to you by someone, and they're calling you because they trusted that person. We call it the triangle of trust. So you trust Anita, I trust Anita too. She trusts me also. We're going to take great care of you. Believe it or not, that psyche matters. And so many times we may lose business to a family member and they may be new, and maybe they just got their real estate license, and we lose them to a family member, and we're scratching our head. You're like, I was providing all this value. I was doing all of this. I have all this experience and this expertise. They must have just gone with their family member for a discount. Well, they don't always give them a discount. It's not out of pity. They had just closed the circle and the triangle of trust, excuse me. So making sure you're closing the triangle is the most important, because you can't leave it open. Attending chamber events, charities, clubs, community events, and groups, that can still be done right now. All of these groups, I mean, from the yacht club, I mean, all of them are holding virtual groups right now. And in fact, we're finding that there's a much higher rate of people attending because there's nothing else to do. You have a captive audience right now. You're not chasing people. People are open to human interaction. There are people that are having conversations that didn't want to have conversations months ago because people were taking relationships and conversations for granted, and people aren't doing that right now. So it's a really, really great time. So if we're not doing this and having the structure, then we're going to make sure, then that's going to be a huge, huge, strain in our business and a lost opportunity. So talking about the letter of the heart, now's a really good time for letter of the heart. This reminds people why they like me and why they trusted me. It's a letter that I personally write. Maybe it's about family, my pets, my passions, what's going on now. Really, it's talking about something that's broken. Why it's broken? Because broken's relatable. And you want to be relatable. I want people to get an idea of like who I am, not who they think I am. And the letter of the heart allows me to control that. It goes out to them every other month. So I send this out one month, and the evidence of success we'll talk about next, the following month. So they're getting something every month. 1 month says like me, trust me, and then like me. The other one says trust me, because it's going to be a testimonial. So sending this out every single month over and over again. If you haven't written a letter like this, and I put pictures on it, one time I was talking about my dad, another time I'm talking about being a father, I'm talking about something my daughter did at gymnastics that I'm proud of. There's so many things that if you're not a great writer, no big deal. Put it together, put some bullet points, write it in really crappy English like I do, and then give it to someone who's a really great writer. Like Tiffany, who works for me and actually went to college for editing, and they'll make it sound really pretty, but you will get your life experience and thought out. If you haven't done it before, then start with an apology letter. Even if it's been a while since you've done it, I apologize that I haven't done a great job staying in touch with you. You are important to me, and this is my first letter to show you that. So you can start things over. Human beings, we're all about second chances, especially being Holy Week. It's all about second chances. So I want to make sure that we kind of carry that through with the letter of the heart. Evidence of success is a short, heroic story about a transaction you did that had difficulties. So you can go and pick really any of your testimonies. The clients that I find that are the most grateful are the ones that you did have some bumps in the road, and they saw you overcome those bumps. I think people take all of us for granted in a lot of the real estate transactions, especially when they go so smooth and great, right? And they think, oh, it's just the way it goes. And if we hide some of those things behind the scenes, they don't know about. But sometimes we have it where those bumps in the road are brought to light, and we really come in looking like heroes and did a great job to overcome those obstacles. So really going and picking, we always pick what we let the team vote who's our favorite testimonial on this, and we pick it, and that's who we send out, of course getting their okay to do it. So that will go out to the database as well as the farm if you're working a farm. So if you do not have that in place, then creating a card, it's more or less the same card, and it goes out over and over. See, the reason people have success with farming and dropping mailers, you all know this, it's about seeing it and looking at it, and over again, they're building a relationship, even though it's not really a relationship, they're building the know, like, and trust. Where my clients, I want to be proactive in that they're being invited to events. I'm talking to them on a consistent basis. I'm sending them personal stuff. I'm putting them on birthday programs. I'm making sure that I'm doing things to be in relationship with the database. All of these systems and all of these things, these tools are able for you to, or are here to be able to put them into effect if you're not doing them right now. All right, let's look at this. So we're talking about the birthday and anniversary program. So we can categorize your referring partners and or past clients, but basically for your referring partners, A's, your top 35, they refer you constantly. They're going to get a nice card and a nice gift. And you can put the budget on it depending on the size of your business. B's, they give you 1 to 2 referrals a year. You can give them a nice card, some candy, a magazine subscription. And your C's, doesn't matter, it doesn't need, if they're not referring you anyone, but they still have potential and you guys didn't leave off on bad terms, send them a card. Take the time to send them a card and write in that card. Right now, one of the country's top realtors, who's a dear friend of mine, she's writing 20 handwritten cards to her entire database every day for the next 27 days. So that she says that she would have written cards to every single person, almost every single person in her database of recent. And I think that's, I'm doing 20 a week and I'm finding it hard, but 20 a day, that shows the level of commitment and the amount of seeds that she's planting to make sure that when this crisis is over, people can take, she can be top of mind. Virtual happy hours, we spoke about this a little quickly, but they're awesome. I mean, my wife had her birthday. It was a big birthday. I'm not going to say how old I was, her 21st birthday. And we had everyone on there. And it was tough because we were all supposed to go to Nashville, 23 of us, and have a great time, but we couldn't do that. And so we hopped on a virtual happy hours, the first one we did. And that was in the middle of March, and we had a blast. Encourage your guests to have their own adult beverage, get together virtually and play games like there's the Go game and there's Go Game also, which is a service that can do it for you. But there's also things that you can do as well as far as helping or playing games that are on the virtual happy hour. What I find is though, usually it's just awesome for everyone just to talk. It's like sitting you're kind of sitting at a bar and people are having great conversations. I had also told you that you can hire folks. Like we hired a stand-up comedian. He was really, really good. He's been on TV and all over the place. And he did it for $250 for a 20-minute, little gig for us. And then I have my guy, Jared. He's a great musician. He can play all kinds of requests. So he's going to come on and we're doing requests. And I'm sure you guys will see some of his coming out. And what I'm doing is I'm picking 5 songs. The folks, whoever chimes in and says which song it is and whether or not I picked it, will win gift cards. So there's different ways that we can engage, and gift cards right now to Postmates, gift cards to the DoorDash and those type of places, supporting our local businesses as well that are open. One of my clients is a restaurateur in Laguna Beach, and he says the carry out is paying the bills. So it's important that we do and support our industry or our community while we're doing these virtual happy hours as well. Virtual coffee meetings. If you're having a great phone conversation, turn it into a Zoom coffee meeting. You can do one-on-ones. I really like these. It's just more intimate. Having that human interaction, seeing one another, talking to one another. You got to remember, most of the humans' communication is nonverbal. So when you're seeing them and you're seeing them smile or you're seeing them not smile, maybe about when you're talking about what's going on, then it allows you to have a more human conversation with these folks. But also you can do, if you're not going to do a happy hour and you're going to do drinking and you don't drink, that's fine. You can do virtual coffee meetings. We're also doing, I think, muffins and mimosas on Fridays. So, there's just endless possibilities, but coming up with what you're going to do every week in your routine right now, that's going to be key. Setting a routine, a positive routine, and making sure that that routine starts with dressing up, putting on a collared shirts, not just being in flip-flops all day long, or, trying to put on some sort of normal and making sure you start your day at a specific time and you end your day at a specific time. Otherwise, it's easy to work late, or it's easy to try and bury our head in the sand and don't watch too much news, right? You watch just enough news to get information, and then you can go to work. Don't be stuck in that television set like my kids are. So the key is to be consistent. Put these systems on your calendar, take some good notes when you're speaking with these folks, deepen your relationship, and you're going to watch your business grow. Most importantly, I will tell you, making sure that you're listening. We're salespeople, so we love to talk. I love to solve problems before I hear the entire problem. I'm already thinking about a solution, and it may be our superpowers, and we may be really, really great at it. But when we're talking to people, it's our biggest asset is just listening and finding out what their problems are, what their challenges are, and going to solve for those challenges and problems. And sometimes people, they don't need your feedback, and they just want you to listen to them, and that's fine too, but it goes a long way. If you're doing and having 100 conversations, again, You know, I think that there's nothing that you could easily have your best summer ever, hands down. Are we seeing purchases slow down a bit? Yes, that's natural. But you know, do we want this thing to bounce back? I mean, I don't know about all of you, but you know, as soon as this thing's over, my wife and I are going to hop on a plane. We're going to go to a crowded restaurant and we're going to go eat and we're going to go to a hotel and we're going to spend some time and we're going to leave our kids at home. Well, we've seen enough of those kids for right now, but that'll just be for a weekend or so. But I'm telling you, we want to make sure that when we hit it, we're going to hit the ground running. And I feel like everyone's going to do that. People are going to want to go to restaurants. People are going to want to go outside. People are going to feel so grateful. People are going to just have, it's going to be a new sense of normal, but being there, being in front of them and making sure that we're doing all of the things that we said we were going to do before, but couldn't because we were too busy. We don't have that excuse anymore. At that point, you can have reasons or results. You can't have both. So if we're choosing to not do these things, put these in effect, and we know that they work, we've seen them work, they're proven to work. It doesn't matter if it's me or somebody else telling you, you know that they work. It's a matter of sitting down and making it happen yourself. So I'm going to open it up to some questions. Let me look at the chat room here to see if anything popped up. We do have an outline on this as well. We don't pass out the slides, but we do have the outline so that you guys can see that. And the outline really breaks down everything that you guys need. That's similar to the slides themselves. But if you're muted, you have a question, you know, feel free to pop on and ask away.
JJ, when did you make the mindset that you committed every day to make that many phone calls? It seems like to be a blockage there for me.
Yeah, I mean, so I think there are two fears right now, right? You're either going to be afraid of getting sick or afraid of being broke and irrelevant. For me personally, I'm more afraid and always have been more afraid of being broke and irrelevant than I was sick. So I refuse to lose, and I'm a grinder, you know. So for me, it was just the commitment of I'm going to win at any and all odds, which just is something that was instilled in me. And it's not instilled in everyone, but it doesn't mean that it can't be. You know, I think that it's also a learned skill as well. Should we give these tools to folks? So maybe you don't have 100 talk tos per week. Maybe you have 50. And maybe before you were only having 10. If you're still up 400, 500% from what you were doing in activities before, that should make up for the activities you're losing. Because it's not like, I mean, the market was looking good. Everything about the market, this is not an economic recession. This is a disaster recession that we're dealing with. So, you know, and listening to some of the economists, and I'm not an economist, right? I'm a mortgage guy, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of things that I agree with, which is this is kind of a combination between 08 and 9/11. And 9/11 kind of happened in New York City, where now 9/11 happened in every single city across the entire world. It's the mindset is, which are you more afraid of? If it's being sick or being broke? And I think from there, the character will show up on which one that you want to attack. And I think right now there's so much opportunity. You can, you know, we're having issues in the mortgage side of things where there could be a huge fallout of mortgage companies, over 20-25% mortgage companies closing than what's open now. And you're going to see the same thing on the realtor side of things. I think they're going to be, and it's unfortunate, but you know, it doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be me. I mean, having lived through 2008, I just refused to do it then and refused to say why I was going to fail, and just made sure I did everything that I couldn't to fail, you know, didn't fail. So great question, James. Anybody else? Questions on here? Here, let me look on the chat. Cool. We are recording this, so we'll talk about doing some replays on this. And then we'll send out some outlines to everybody. We want to be a source here to help you. You guys have done so much to help our business and my families. I know this is a hard time for my realtor friends and partners right now. And the quicker we can get back to it, the better. So we promise to do this weekly as far as giving information and tactics to prospect during this time, things that we can do to help grow your business, things to watch out for in the mortgage industry that you should be that you didn't have to worry about 30 days ago that you need to be worrying about now. So look for the one coming next week. Look for our happy hours. We've got a lot of our happy hours coming up that are going to be fun. I think we're doing a wig and wind down happy hour. So everyone's got to get their own wig and put it on. You know, these are just ways for us to interact, and God made us to be non-isolated. So, you know, let's make sure we're doing what we can. This week, my company, I tasked them all to give back to others this week. So each week we're having a theme. Last week was getting in a healthy routine. The week before that was gratitude. This week is giving back to others in any way that you can. Maybe it's handwritten notes. Maybe it's phone calls, checking in on them. Maybe it's delivering food. Whatever, however that you can help impact and help somebody else this week, I think it's really important. And the more we can have gratitude and the more we can help others, then we can't be in a bad mood, because it's impossible to be grateful and be in a bad mood. So we're just doing everything we can to help counteract that, and appreciate all of you. So if there aren't any other questions, then I'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. I hope that this provided you some value. And of course, if you know anyone looking to buy or sell or refinance and they need my help, we're still doing low FICO FHAs. We're still closing loans in 10 and 15 days. We're still doing jumbos. We're a strong liquid cash company that are direct with the agencies. So that's what's going to be the most important right now. So rest assured that I have you guys all covered. Okay.
Hey, JJ.
Yeah, buddy.
This Ed. Okay, I missed the beginning of the talk. So did you talk anyhow about the interest rate? How are we doing?
No, I didn't really do I can do a quick market. I mean, the interest rates are ridiculously low right now. I'm locking people in the low threes. So we're great on the low threes. We're still looking on some products in the upper threes, depending on some of the high balance, but they're in the threes. So what we call in the mortgage industry in the threes, we call it free money, because that's just historically where they're at their lowest. So we're at historic rates. Take advantage of it. Could they be in the twos? Sure, they could be in the ones also, but there has to be a point where we've got to be grateful with what we have. And then if it gets better, great. But right now, anything in the threes is good.
Thank you, JJ. And always stay safe, please.
You guys too. Everyone stay safe, stay sane. I love you. I appreciate you, and have a great rest of your week. Okay.
Hey, JJ, I have one quick question.
Yeah, you bet.
Hey, I had a couple clients that asked me about the FHA borrowers that could get like a little break from making the payments, forbearance, they call it.
Yeah.
Is that something that it's out there? Is that official?
So,
What
but they
can you
have to
tell
be
us?
they have to be very careful. Each bank can have their own forbearance plan. So some are going to maybe defer it till the end of the loan, or some are going to short-term defer it for maybe 3-4 months. That money can be, so Chase, I saw one do for one of my clients. They said, we'll defer you for 4 months. In 4 months, that entire payment is due, including taxes and insurance. So it puts them in a precarious situation where if they're not deferring it to the end of the loan, they also want to make sure they get in clear writing whether or not they're going to have a clean mortgage rating. It doesn't mean not reporting to credit. So maybe they don't report any lates to credit, but if they call and ask us, have they paid as agreed? We still haven't been told that we have to answer no or yes, they have paid as agreed when they haven't. I mean, the fact is, if you're in forbearance, you need to stick with the terms of the mortgage note and loan that you have, unless you can't. It has to be a last case scenario, because what we saw in 08 is everything sounded great. And then when everything got better again, the bank started instituting hard rules on folks that took advantage of short sale programs, forbearance programs, loan modification programs. So, you know, they may be able to get some short-term relief, but they could have made the payments. Well, then it affects their credit later in one way, shape, or form, and they're not able to take advantage of credit later. So I would say save it for only if you have to, not for free money. There's no such thing.
Oh, thank you.
You bet. Awesome. Well, really great questions, guys. Really.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
No, absolutely. You guys too. Stay diligent. Let's use this time. Oh, here's is there any refi delay at the moment due to high volume? No, our turn times are great. We're closing in under 30 days. Updates on jumbos. Jumbos are becoming scarce, and here's why. They're low margin, high capital requirements. So let's say you have $1 million loan, you could make much more, call it 3-4 times more profit, and help 3 to 5 more times of the people if you're doing conventional and FHA financing. So as you're seeing an influx, people are pulling out of the jumbo market as far as investors. So Wells Fargo pulled out of the jumbo market on Friday from a correspondent level, and others could follow. But right now, we still have a good solid 5 or 6 investors that we're using. We fund the loans ourselves and we assume the risk and sell to them. So we still feel confident that there's a hole to be filled in the jumbo market, but you can see that it's going to be harder. Don't expect, anything over an 80% loan to value. Expect more scrutiny on employment. It was tougher before, and it's going to be tougher now because, again, low profit, high capital requirements for those type of loans. I know, for the real estate side, it's like you get $1 million deal and you're like, wow, this is great because you're going to get, call it 2.5% in $1 million. But literally I could get, $1 million deal is as profitable as, one $500,000 government or conventional loan. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles on those. But great question. I'm in Laguna Beach. Which restaurant is getting by on taking from takeout? It's Starfish. Great restaurant. One of my favorites. They have Asian fusion. They've got sushi. When they delivered it, the food was hot and the sushi was cold. So I called them immediately. But great restaurant for sure. Do I see a high-end market being affected by jumbo loans change? I'm sure there's going to be some effect from that. People losing their money in the stock market, and for the people that are at the higher end, it's a lot more money to lose than kind of the middle to lower end. So I'm sure we're going to see that, and of course, less people borrowing the jumbo loans, but also the non-QM products such as bank statement loans. A lot of those are gone, and a lot of those self-employed people. So I do feel that there is going to be some effect to the upper end market, but understand, we're really blessed at the high 700s for conventional loans here in Orange County. So we still have seconds that we can piggyback behind those to help bridge that gap. Most of those people in the jumbo world are putting down 20-25% anyways. So I'm just advising, hey, if you need to buy. If you need to sell. You can't time the market. Warren Buffett tells you that. He's arguably the smartest investor. So I don't see any of these products loosening up until at best next year. So, if we think it's going to just be go back to work and all the products are going to come back, just history tells us that that's not the case. You'll see some of them loosen up a little bit, but when you're talking about high risk products such as stated income, bank statement loans, and jumbo loans, those type of loans take a lot longer to come back. I mean, it took them years and years to come back to where they were. And, even though it's a quick little hit, it does take the investors some time. They'd rather put their money in other investments. So I think at best next year, we'll see some of the loosening up a little bit. All really great questions. Awesome. Well, we're going to do our muffins and mimosa, which is kind of more of an open forum for questions and market updates. So we want to keep you truly informed every bit we can. You're welcome to share this with others that you feel that'll benefit and can help from this and need some community. And if you know someone, we really want to help others. So if you know someone that's really struggling, we'll keep it in confidence, absolutely. But if you can let us know whether we, help them with food, or we pray for them, or we just do some community, whatever it is. If you know someone really struggling, please do let Kimberly or Lydia or I know, because we'd love to be of help any way we can. Okay. Awesome. I appreciate. Have a great week, everybody. Work hard, have fun, relax, enjoy the weekend.